Dragon Ball is a series renowned for its large cast of unique and interesting characters. Their wide array of fighting styles, special abilities, and memorable moments embed them in the minds of readers and viewers alike, allowing them to enhance the series itself. Everybody remembers the two-man war between Piccolo and Android 17, the desperate fight against Frieza before Goku's arrival on planet Namek, and the game of cat and mouse between the Z Fighters and Imperfect Cell. You remember all of these fights like yesterday, and with good reason. To a lot of people, these fights are Dragon Ball, making the moments where these villains are defeated feel even more rewarding as a result. But something's wrong. As Dragon Ball has progressed, Akira Toriyama's magnum opus finds itself struggling to keep its side characters relevant. Many of the Z Fighters have been ejected from the main plot, not even taking a supporting role on the battlefield, and to many people, this has ruined Dragon Ball, and it shows little to no sign of changing in the slightest, primarily because of how difficult it is. This is because of something called power creep. Plain and simple, Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha couldn't hack it. While the Saiyans were getting new forms every arc, the closest thing to any true Earthling representation we had in Krillin was too busy finding new ways to die every arc. But why does it matter? We don't watch Dragon Ball for these characters. As long as Goku and Vegeta are doing cool shit, then it's okay, right? No. You're wrong. And in this video, I'm going to try my best to break down exactly why you're wrong, and potentially help you realize that you're not using your side characters properly, and how you can use them better. Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai reminds me a lot of old school Dragon Ball. I don't know if it's because the characters are designed by Akira Toriyama himself, or if it's because of the grand adventure that takes place over the series' 100 episodes. But one thing is for certain. Ignoring everything about the show itself for a moment, Adventure of Dai has some damn good side characters, and it's not afraid to show them off to the audience. The story of Dai is simple. A young boy blessed with a mystic power is trained by a legendary hero as a successor to defeat a Dark Lord. It's honestly nothing to write home about, just like the majority of Dragon Quest narratives. But where it shines, just like the games, is in its presentation of its side characters. In particular, Popp. Popp begins the story as a weak coward, jealous of Dai's prodigal strength. However, before long, he quickly finds his place in the plot, helping Dai in his battles against the series' many villains and proving himself instrumental in the group's success on multiple occasions, growing into someone just as reliable as Dai, in spite of the fact that he's much weaker. I'm using Popp as an example here because, in my opinion, he exhibits three traits that I feel like most writers could learn from. For starters, he does not simply exist for the protagonist. Dai will always be the leading man, but Popp, in spite of this, makes his own decisions quite frequently throughout the narrative. He takes fights on his own, he disagrees with the rest of the cast at times, and even when he's not acting brashly, he's still making smaller, individual decisions that oftentimes turn the tide in the group's favor. He grows alongside the protagonist. As I described earlier, power creep is a thing, and for many side characters, it can be what makes or breaks their development. Popp is strong in the sense that he grows naturally with the rest of the cast as the story progresses. His efforts are clear, and it never feels as though he's being left in the dirt. And finally, he always has things to do. I feel like this is the most important part of creating a competent side character. When you have characters that are allowed to do nothing for so long, you eventually forget about them. Popp never quite loses that spark in Dragon Quest because he's never pushed out of the narrative to the point of irrelevance. Due to Popp never succumbing to power creep, he never has to be forced out, and because of this, there is always a place in the plot for him to slot himself into, no matter how unexpected it may be. Popp, as a side character, fulfills his purpose perfectly. His role is clear, and because of this, his execution is tight and clean. He stands out as a fan favorite in the eyes of many, with some people even seeing him as the second main character of the series. Popp succeeds where the Z Fighters fail in that he's never too much for the story, and the story is never too much for him. But of course, you can't do this with every single character in every single narrative. The main cast of a series is subject to change as the story progresses and evolves. Characters complete their arcs and have no further reason to really interact with the narrative. It's natural, and before we move forward, I want to make that very clear. Just as you shouldn't let your potential fan favorites fade into the background, you should also avoid making a character overstay their welcome. And the last thing you want to do is unintentionally annoy your audience. As a writer, as generic as this is going to sound, you should have little to no reservations about killing your darlings. The value of a side character lies in more than the amount of villains they can beat up over the course of your narrative. Your story might not have any fighting at all, or the fighting might just be a vessel for deeper, personal exploration of the characters in your story. Giving them something to do might not include a fight or anything grandstanding, but instead simply having them fill their role as a support character by offering support to the protagonist, a shoulder to lean on, someone to talk to, or someone to give them that push in the right direction that they would be lacking in otherwise. Your real-life best friend could serve as inspiration when writing your side characters. How do you see your best friend? What is their place in the world when compared to yours? And if your life was a novel, how would you tell their story alongside yours? Or otherwise, how would they impact your story? The phrase "killing your darlings" is overused, and the definition is too tight for its application. When I say kill your darlings, I mean to let their stories die when they're supposed to, whether it really ends with their death or not. The people around us who are affected by our actions will come and go. Some may be more important than others, but the sentiment still stands. If you want your audience to love your side characters, then when they've done their job and impacted your narrative, you must let them go in one way, shape, or form. Returning to Dragon Ball once more, these characters are beloved by you as an audience because of their absence. We all miss the days where the Z Fighters would fight as a team, where Tien would take down a main villain if only for a second, and not truly having those moments anymore makes us appreciate them all the more, pushing us to go back and relive those experiences over and over again. Was this intentional? No idea. But there is one thing I know for sure. Side characters are more than just tools for the plot. They are the protagonists of their own micro stories in and of themselves. My name is John Sage, and thanks for watching. Hello, it is Editing Room John once more, and as usual, I would like to thank you for watching this video all the way up until the end. This time around, I have a lot to talk about. Not a lot, but a good amount to talk about. For starters, I would like to thank you guys for the immense support I received on the previous video. Between you and me, I was just itching for another video to break 1,000, and that video putting up those kinds of numbers was very encouraging, and it filled me with a lot of enthusiasm going into this video. My only hope now is that I can continue to remain consistent and continue to make content that you all enjoy and appreciate, and hopefully have fun just viewing in general. What else? The making of this video was a little bit interesting. Motivation was a little bit up and down, but as per usual, I like to keep myself set to a schedule, so the video was going to get put out when it was going to get put out regardless. I tried to be a little bit more active with my editing style as well, promoting more consistency and things like that, so I hope that I was able to achieve that with this video. And overall, like I said, I hope you guys had fun watching it, because I definitely had a lot of fun making it, in spite of all of the things that may have come up during the process. Yeah, that's it. My name is John Sage. Thank you for watching, and have an amazing rest of your day.